Hi guys, this is Hero. How's everyone doing today? So today I'm going over the number one thing, the number one factor you can do to improve your relationships. And that is hands down to be fully aware of the good and the bad traits you have in yourself and your partner, and understand that good and bad don't just blindly cancel each other out. Just the same way as if I were to add a little bit of extra salt in a cooking dish, adding extra sugar is not just going to cancel it out, right? It's going to create a whole new taste, and you're going to taste them both. Okay. Now, right off the bat, you probably might not have been expecting this, right? And this is because most people, whenever I hear about relationship advice, it's usually very tactical, right? It's like do X, Y, and Z, and then everything will get fixed, your relationship will get better, right? Or they can give some kind of illusion of being more aware, like focus more on emotional compatibility and stuff like that. But this is actually not going to solve the root problem. This is actually just going to lead to the same result of similar tactical steps. It's just that instead of somebody else giving you those tactical steps, you're just creating your own tactical steps. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is you're just implementing these tactical steps to try to fix a very deep root problem or problems, and that's obviously not going to work, right? So let me just go ahead and get started on the video. So we all have good and bad in us, right? And in our partner, right? And we, for the most part, are fully aware of what about us is desirable and what's not, and what about our partner is desirable and what's not, right? And nobody's perfect, right? But if you're talking about, see, we have certain energies within us, right? And you can watch my chakra video, like my lower self chakra video, but we have energies in our lower self and we have energies in our higher self. Our energies in our lower self would be like your physically, mental, emotional needs. And in your higher self would be kind of more like your spiritual needs and your karmic needs and things like that. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with, your physical needs and all this kind of stuff, right? Like this is, I mean, I go to the gym like 6 times a week, right? Like I know that it's an important part. However, and all the superficial stuff that comes in your lower self. However, you need to be fully aware that everything especially in your lower self, does not cancel out. What do I mean by this? What do I mean by it doesn't cancel out? Okay, there's two ways you can try to get it to cancel out. Either in yourself or in your partner. So I just said that there's physical, mental, and emotional needs. You could have a lack in one and try to compensate with kind of like a surplus in another, or you can have a lack in one and some other way in that same area, you try to have a surplus in that same area. Let me give you an example of the second one because I know it sounded more confusing. Let's just say like mental, emotion, let's just say personality, right? Let's say you are not a very confident person. And I'll make these examples unisex, okay? Let's just say you're not a very confident person, okay? Now, you try to compensate on that by being overly supporting, nurturing, clingy, whatever, right? Or even the opposite. Let's just take the opposite, right? Because I don't want anybody to go to either extreme. Let's just say you're not that supporting, caring, nurturing, whatever, but you're super confident and independent and all this kind of stuff. These two don't cancel each other out. Now, I know that everybody's a little bit different and all this kind of stuff, but you need to take a good, hard look in the mirror, and you need to first be aware that you're doing this, and you need to second ask yourself, is this something that my partner really prefers and values? Okay? If the answer is no, you have some work to do. Now, I know a lot of us don't like to do the hard work. We like to think the world just revolves around us. However, unfortunately, I hate to break the news, but that's not true. Okay? Same thing with, let's just say physical, right? Let's just say you might be a little bit overweight, okay? Guy or girl, whatever. Let's just say you try to, like, I don't know, like wear some better clothes and jewelry and stuff like that. It's great. That's great. But you need to ask yourself, and let's say you clean up well and all this, right? I've seen people, they don't really have the best bodies, but they think they clean up well and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, you need to ask yourself, first, you need to be aware of how you actually come across. And then you need to ask yourself, is this something my partner would actually prefer? Right. And I get it, right? Like, we should all love each other and all this kind of stuff. But, we live here on planet Earth and none of us are perfect. Okay. So if you're not perfect, your partner's not going to be perfect. So if you want your partner to put in some work, you should probably put in some work as well, right? But in order to do the right work, you need to be very aware, okay? And you need to be very honest with yourself, okay? And then also it can kind of go like, it doesn't have to be like in the same realm. Like somebody could be like, for example, overweight and physically, right? So it affects your physical part of you, and you are now trying to be overly supportive and nurturing and all this kind of stuff, right? Like, again, they're not going to cancel each other out. You need to ask yourself, you need to fully be cognizant of how this comes across, and then you need to ask yourself, hey, is this something my partner actually values, right? Because sometimes we do these little trades in our head and we think they're useful. Sometimes they're not even useful at all. And then even if they are useful, it's like is there some work I can still do, right? Like, or is this still gonna work, right? You need to be honest with yourself if you're having a problem in watching this video and all this kind of stuff. Next, I'm already 7 minutes in this video. You have yourself, right? But then you also have your partner or your prospects, okay? Somebody could be super confident. Actually, I'll give the bad first, right? Somebody could be super entitled, right? All right, but they could be super confident, which is what kind of draws you in and things like that. So you need to understand that long term, they will not cancel each other out. In the short term, your ego might hyperfixate on one, right? But you need to be fully aware of this, right? This is why awareness is key. This is why my videos, I'm always talking about get off the social media and do the inner work and stuff like that, because it all comes full circle, but it comes full circle in the long term. So if you never start doing any real work, you can't complain when you don't get what you want, okay? So back to this example. So you have, you're entitled, you find somebody that's a little entitled, but confidence is there, right? So you need to understand that, yes, this initial confidence, possibly cockiness, could be alluring you in and seem very attractive, but is this really going to work? Is this person going to provide someone long-term of support and companionship, and whatever else you think needs to be there for a proper partner, right? I think you guys kind of get the gist, right? There's all kinds of millions of examples I can go on. I'm already 10 minutes into this video and I barely scratched the surface, so I'm not going to continue with the examples, but I think you guys kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to say here, okay? You need to first be aware of who you are and who your partner is. And then you need to be aware of what you actually truly want long term. And then you also need to have the awareness of taking the right actions and things like that, right? Now, as you can see, there's multiple steps here. But it all starts with just being aware of the fact that you can't just do whatever you want and cancel, things don't just cancel each other out willy-nilly, right? Once you understand that, then you can kind of acknowledge that, hey, okay, these are the things that make me up. These are the things that make this person up. Now we can actually, now that we're actually honest of what's going on, we can, continue and try to improve. If we're not honest about what's going on, any sort of improvement that we try to make could, I'm not saying will, but could be fruitless. Okay. Which I don't think that's what we want. But the way I'm proposing, it's going to require more awareness, which is going to require, good habits, because not having good habits is not going to, like having bad habits and stuff is not going to increase your awareness or help in that department at all. And then once you actually have the awareness, you actually need to put in the work, right? Which, a lot of people also may struggle with that piece as well. So, but I have videos on all that kind of stuff, like awareness and doing the right thing and all this kind of stuff. But not the right thing, but the actually doing some discipline and stuff like that. But I hope this video helped, okay, and open your mind up a little bit. But if you have any questions or comments, as usual, you can let me know in the comment section or my email. As usual, I'll talk to everyone next time. Thank you all very, very much for watching.